Alright everybody, welcome back to another episode of No Man's Sky. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault. We're here for part 2 of our little quick start guide. And it looks like we need to construct a shelter to protect against hazards. So that's where we're going to start. Right after we do this, because, I've told you, this is always important as we get these little nanites. So what's it want us to do? Timber floor panel. So we're going to push up and see, we got the timber panel located. Let's put it right next to this damaged machinery. Then it wants 3 walls. Now when we select this, we can hit the triangle button, and look, it gives us different options for different types of that wall. There's 4 of them, right? So let's build this one because it's cool looking. Things snap into place, it's a fairly simple and pretty effective building program, set up here. There's the flat timber roof, and now wants a timber door. We'll hit the triangle again. Now we've got the door. And we can go back to the base computer. Where was that puppy? Right here. So let's check it out and see what it gives us this time. Alright, so we got the construction research unit, and it wants us to dig up buried technology to earn new blueprints. There's a nasty storm going on. We go inside and we instantly start to recover our little shield for radiation. So while the storm's going on, we really haven't had a chance to do this yet. So let's take a look at some of the things you can do with this game. So pushing down on the D-pad when you're as your little character here, this opens up a menu. And from left to right, here's what you have on it. So all the way to the left, you have your utilities. Whether you want your torch on, your flashlight. You can change your secondary weapon, and when we get a little bit further into the multi-tool, we'll look at that a little bit more, and you can also swap your multi-tool. You can have multiples of these. This is the camera view where you can go into first person, which is generally how I like to play, but this run through I'm going to stick with third person just because it's kind of cool. I might end up doing that with my regular game, not sure. And then we've got our Byte Beat library, which is a whole other story. We don't have, that's basically a music creator. Here we have our companion register, and you can see we have 2 open slots. And 16 that need to be unlocked, and they cost different numbers of nanites, and I believe the price goes up each time you open a slot, so it can get kind of pricey in nanites. We're not going to worry about that right now either. Here we can summon our vehicles, and here we have the only ship we have available is our little radiant pillar that we started with. You can also summon exocraft when you get them later on, a freighter when you get that later on, and any other ships you have. You can have a total of 9, so that's kind of cool. This is your recharge thing. It gives you the option to recharge stuff like your mining beam, life support, and your hazard protection. This is your gestures, and every time we start a video, we end up, doing different gestures and whatnot. And this is photo mode, which when you click it, you can move around, and so you can even okay, why is it not working now? Yeah, change the position of the sun, adjust effects. There's a lot to do there, but that's a whole video in and of itself. So that's it for this. Now looking at our character himself and our exosuit, we've got 3 tabs to it. A general tab. When you are collecting things and resources and whatnot, this is where they default drop to. You got the technology tab. This is where you're going to put all of your different, not all of it, but a lot of your technology. Eventually, if you play like I do, you're going to end up with a lot of it in here as well. Your general tab. And this is your cargo tab, which is kind of a deep storage. I like to store basic resources in my deep storage. It just feels, let's switch that. You know, it feels good to keep it in there, and it just frees up a little room for me to pick stuff up. Now, there's not a lot available in any of these slots, right? 4, 8, 12, 16, or 5, 10, 24 there, 4 there, and 2 there. So 30 altogether. Not cool. But we can increase the size of this, and we will go over that as we come across the opportunity to do so. Your starship is set up in a very similar way, and there are several different types of starships that have several different classes to them. Everything in this game pretty much has a class. C, B, A, or S, with S being the best and C being the worst. And it affects things like your maximum number of slots that are available in these different places, and as well as some other things. So, and then there's different ship types, which we'll have to look at. Again, these are just the basics here. Again, you've got your general, which is your default spot where everything goes to. Your technology, which is where we want to move stuff like this. So it'll just free up room for us. Now we can hold a lot more in the ship. And then you got your cargo hold, which is a deep hold. And then we have the multi-tool. The multi-tool can't store anything, but it does have your different slots for the different types of technology you want to install. As you can see, we've got 4 things on it. And we have the ability to install 2 others. Bolt caster and a personal force field. Okay? That's all of that right now. And all of these things, you can make them bigger. You can raise the class on them. Your exosuit doesn't have a class. That's one thing that doesn't. It gets better and better as you progress in the game. So, we need to get some pure ferrite. So they want us to deploy this portable refiner. And we need magnetized ferrite. So we're going to put pure ferrite in here. Fuel it up with some carbon. Let it go to work. It needs 20. We're going to have 29. Fair enough. 2 pure ferrite makes 1 magnetized. 1 ferrite dust makes 1 pure ferrite. Just to give you an idea. Now we need to craft carbon nanotubes. So we open up our inventory. And it requires 50 carbon. Ooh, which we do not have, so okay. Well, we're just going to have to gather some up real quick. Fortunately, there's plenty of plant life around. So we'll just work on gathering that up as we go. We're getting a little gamma root as a second thing that we collect here. Oh, we always want to identify these things for a couple of reasons. One, you get some units for it, and early on it's not much, but we can increase the amount that we get as we move along. And 2, if there's multiple items in it, like a secondary item, you won't get it until you scan it and learn what it is. So it's a big help. You definitely want to get a little bit more than 50 because we always need carbon. Just knock out a couple more of these strange, weird, knobby plant thingies. There's a smaller one. Let's analyze it real quick. You see we get sulfurine with it, which is a gas that comes in handy later in the game. Let's get ferrite dust and salt. Now salt, oh boy. We're going to talk about salt. We're going to do a whole video on salt. Because salt is huge. Salt can make you a fortune in this game. A fortune in units, that is, and then later on, those units can be transferred into nanites doing certain things. And we'll get to all that stuff. This is just the start here. Alright, that one has a little oxygen in it. Let's get the oxygen. And this one has mordite, another rarer resource. And we'll finish off with this. We should have way more than we need. Yeah, 620. That's great. That'll keep us busy for a while. I didn't want to have to keep coming back and farming that stuff, you know? So we'll get back down here. And we will deploy our construction research unit. We'll put it right by the door outside. You don't have to worry about things getting damaged in this game like you do other games. Creatures aren't going to come up and attack this. The little robot sentinels aren't going to do that either. So what this does is it opens up for us a very basic technology menu of things that we can trade salvage data, which you see we have 0 of up here, in for, to add stuff to our base, right? And it gives you only a few choices here. Core habitat or habitation tech, which is just some of the very basic stuff you need. Structures and timber, stone, and alloy. And that's it. Not a lot, but we need those salvage tech modules. So we go to the analysis visor and we look around in a circle to see if we see any, and this is what they look like. We hold the square down to tag it. See, this one's a little closer. And when we uncover these, they will have between 1 and 4 salvage technology units in them. So, you know, hopefully we'll get some good pools, because the more you get, the better off you are quickly, you know. You can unlock more things. These are precious, and I highly recommend that, and we're going to do it ourselves with this build, is as soon as we're done with all the basic tutorial crap that starts it off. Here, I switch into the terrain manipulator. We're going to go ahead and start farming stuff. That only had 1. We got another one pretty close by.
Weather warning. Incoming storm.
Let's go ahead. So that one had 2. Much better than the last one. We'll look around in a circle again. Here's some over here. 260 away. Alright, we're going to go for that one. I know our damage protection is going down quick. Could be in a little bit of trouble here. Radiation's hitting us hard. But by Jove, we're getting that technology. Get us a little sodium, and for the price of 35 sodium. And fix it. Let's tag this guy and see what he brings to the table, and here we go. So that one had 2. Is that it? That's it. 2 so far. So we got 5, I believe. Keep looking in a circle. They do disappear off the map once you collect them, so you don't have to worry about, you know, going backwards and getting the same one again. Damaged machinery to pick up on. Take the viscous fluids. Whoops, and I forgot that time to hold on till the nanites came. Alright. You basically just open it again if you quickly back at it there. I'm getting close. Now I've noticed these buried technology modules are usually close by some of that salvage tech, so there's definitely something going on between the two of them. Get to the right spot. Sometimes you're going to have that happen. See, there was a rock in the way. Alright, where'd it go? Lose it. Sometimes you have to back up a little bit to see where it is. Now, where the hell is it? Oh, there it is. Over this way. We got it. And we're going to go a little bit deeper to see if we can recover our shields. I guess not. If you ever get stuck in a cave or underground, just shoot upward at an angle. And eventually, you'll get yourself free. Although this isn't looking so good. What do we do? Get into a mountain? Holy crap. There we go. Must have been on an incline there. Alright, let's... Alright, made it out. Perfect. So we got any more around? Nothing. Guess that's it for now. So we'll boogie back to the base. Hopefully we'll have enough stuff to do whatever it wants us to do to advance. Definitely take a little copper and oxygen on the trip. Earn a couple of units too. And we gain a little bit of dust here. So in the beginning of the game, you're very limited on what you can do with your base and building it wise. And even with the base computer that gave us those different options of things that we could buy, there's really not much available other than building supplies, the basic building supplies, and some of the most basic of technologies you can have, like a teleporter and all that. So there is a place to get more stuff. We're just not there yet, but we will be within the next couple episodes. So here we are, back at the base. And we're kind of silly. We need to make sure we pick this up. We don't want to leave it. All right. What's it want us to buy? Research buildable technology. So I guess it wants us to buy this. That's cool. And down here's solar panel and all that. We're going to definitely want to get those down the road, but we're going to have to get a biofuel reactor. And the wiring's free. Solar panel costs 8. Well, we'll grab the battery for now. And we can rename the base, so we go back to the computer here. I've got a name. And that's easy enough. Just hold down X up here. And there we go. We'll capture a screenshot of it. Even though it's pretty much crap, but hey, why not, right? Bingo. Then we'll leave, and when it says leave, we're just leaving that menu. So it wants us to craft 4 metal plating. I don't know if I have enough for it, but we'll find out. Not even close. Alright, time to gather some ferrite dust up, baby. Saw a geo just pop up. That's one of those, you have a random chance of that when you're mining for ferrite and stuff like that. I'll show you what it does next time we go into the menu, but right now we're going to just continue on getting as much ferrite dust as possible. Maybe a little splash of uranium in the process too. And why not some carbon and mordite? Carbon is a building block. And it recharges your mining beam, so you never want to run out of it. And while the mining beam may start off as woefully inefficient, as the game progresses, it does get better and more useful. So just remember that. The more we upgrade it, the better it gets. It'll overheat less, it'll last longer, it'll yield us more. I want to walk away with a little bit of extra ferrite dust. And by a little bit, I mean a lot, but we're not going to spend all day. Whoop. There it is. Look at that, we would have missed out on a little salt. All right, come on, back to it. Finish this one off too. Alright, so back into here, you hit X, and we can make the 4. Two nanotubes, easy peasy. All right, well, thinking here for a second. We got all that. Oh, we need sodium. Damn it. That's going to be a pain. Hopefully there's some plants nearby. Here's one over here.
Radiation protection falling.
Sodium's always an early game challenge. Until you build up a little bit of reserve, it's a little tough to come by, right? Scan. There's some over here. See a couple more plants. That should give us more than enough.
Life support power low.
Sometimes you get lucky and there's several plants together, even though only one registers on your radar. Now it's not one of those times. And every now and then, you come across a whole bunch of it, or you'll come across sodium crystals that are just sitting out there waiting for you to gather. Let's go get this last one over here. That way we do have a little bit extra, and then we'll head back to the ship. I know I'm kind of pushing it with the oxygen and the protection, but I've done this more than once. Oh yeah, look at that. This is well worth the trip.
Radiation protection falling.
In the beginning, I recommend not recharging your suit unless you absolutely have to. Just because it's a little bit of a challenge to get a hold of sodium early on. So that's why we're pushing it here. We're pushing it real close. Is that another plant right there? Oh, we are definitely taking that one. We're going to start catching some radiation damage. It's going to suck. But we should be okay here.
Radiation protection.
Bingo. Alright, so it wants us to construct a base teleport module. Let's fill up our O2 while we're here.
Recharge.
Base teleport module, that's it right there. 4 plating, 2 nanotubes, and 40 sodium. And we'll just slap it down. And we're done. That wants us to build a biofuel reactor. Did we get one of those? Yes, we did. Needs 1 metal plating and 25 oxygen, which we don't have.
Radiation protection.
Wasn't that interesting?
Product constructed.
So we need to look for some oxygen. And look at that, seek. And ye shall find. You can never have enough oxygen in this game. I'll tell you that right from the start. You can never have enough oxygen. Especially early on. If you end up with too much, you can just put it in the refiner and turn it into carbon, which is hugely useful. You can use it to get other types of materials, like we can use it with salt to get chlorine, and chlorine is highly valuable. And I did a video on a salt and oxygen base that I've used on my main character for quite some time now, and let me tell you, I make a bloody fortune off of that thing. And I still have, you know, it's just, yeah, it's crazy how it works. It's an easily exploitable thing, but, you know, we need to get the equipment to be able to do it. We don't have that yet, but that's something we're going to work on here shortly. And that's going to be once we get off this planet and get ourselves to a decent planet where we can do some farming. And I'll do all that farming off camera and just explain it when we're done with it. So, biofuel reactor, you're good to go. We'll need to connect it via wire. And then we're going to need to supply it with something to give it some power. So we'll just put a little bit of that in there. And let's see what it wants us to do next. So the tutorial's cool. It kind of sucks for a returning player, especially if you've played, started it up as many times as I have. It's a little tedious to get through. I wish there was a skip tutorial option, which would make things so much easier. But it's not. Alright, so our predecessor went up to a space station. And our goal now is to investigate it. So let's get up there. And that should be enough to wrap up this episode. So we're going to pick this up. We forgot to before. I don't want to leave it behind. And in fact, we're going to do this. We're going to hit square when we go into the build menu. And then hit L2. Destroy everything, and as you see, it is refunding us what we used to build it, right? Look at that. Back to 118 sodium, 32 oxygen. So life is good. Let's we can hold down square on the geode. It just gave us some more ferrite dust. Perfect. Next thing, we're going to run up to this little base computer and access it. And I highly recommend you do this because on a crappy planet, early in the game, unless you found something amazingly cool or whatever, or you happen to end up on a good planet, there's no reason to keep this initial base. In fact, we may never come back to this planet again. That'll depend on a lot. So we're going to jump into our pillar. Hold down R2 and take off. And away we go. When we look on the screen, we see that little yellow, here it is. This little icon here on the map, that's our space station. We'll hold down L1 and R1 enough to engage the pulse rocket. We're going to fly right to it. Now, most systems have these, and they're great. But not all systems. There are some systems that are not under control by any alien race, so they don't have it. There's a couple different alien races in the game. The three main ones are the Gek, which are these little Danny DeVito looking guys that look kind of like frogs, kind of like birds. The Viking, which are bigger and more monstrous, and oh god, I can't think of the third one. Isn't that funny? Here we go, these guys. So, when you first get here, we're going to talk to three guys. And we want to talk to three random guys. We don't want to talk to anybody who's at a shop. Because the first three guys you talk to aren't going to do anything for you, really. There's one other guy. Corvette, that's what they're called. Jeez, total brain fart there. You see, they give us these little discussions, blah, 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 blah. We don't understand a word they're saying for the most part. That guy gave me some kind of code for my base computer. Cool. Now let's just make sure that we can... We've already spoke to this guy. I don't know if he's going to do anything else for us. Yeah. Anyone else in here? Maybe this guy? Yeah, we haven't spoke to him yet. Alright, let's talk to him. And here's where we can request dialect help. And I recommend doing this in every station you go to. You don't have to do a lot, one or two. But little by little you learn the language, and as you talk to these guys, they're going to get better and better at communicating with you. You understand what they say better, which isn't important in the day-to-day business, but overall it does help quite a bit. Now, starting on, we'll call this the left side of the station as we're facing out, because it is the left side. You've got random guys walking around out here. You have a little back room. There's really not much going on back here, although you can extract money and nanites sometimes from some of these little wall things. Like we got a few units there. Handful of nanites. Accomplished a journey milestone. Cool. 8,000 units of walking. But then you've got your galactic trade terminal here. This is very useful. Look at that. We got 13,000 units. We can buy different items from resources, raw materials, to some manufactured stuff, to things like this, which are trade goods. And as you can see, we can also sell things that we don't want. And right now we're going to keep everything because it's useful. This is a mission guy. These guys are very important, especially early game. This is a great way to earn units and nanites and get some interesting things, but he's not offering us any yet. This is a envoy. We don't really have anything to do with him right now, but later on we'll be able to talk to them and get rewards from different factions, whether it be the Mercenaries Guild, the Trading Guild, or the Exploring Guild. Then you got a cartographer you could buy different maps from. You can see different ships are flying in here. You could talk to the pilots and try to buy their ships if you have enough units. They can be quite expensive, and we're really not in the mood to shop for ships at this point. But over here we've got our 4 major vendors. The first one here being the exosuit guy. I recommend stopping at every station if you can so that you buy an upgrade. They're very cheap at first, especially for the general area. If you go to technology, it's even cheaper right now. Cargo, back up to the other one. So we'll start with technology just because it's so cheap and it'll pay off. They also buy and sell these different upgrades. This one for your exosuit. And you see they are B level, C level, A level, and S level. They can be kind of expensive nanite wise. We only have 198. But the shield module that we found, we're going to sell it because we're looking to do certain things with our nanites that don't involve upgrading anything as of yet. This guy has stuff for your exocraft, which will come down the pike. This is the ship guy. He will help you upgrade your starship, whichever one you're in at the time. And this guy buys or sells a weapon. And then he's got all the upgrades for the weapons, and he also can help you upgrade your current multi-tool, right? There's 2 ways to upgrade it. You can add more slots to it, which increases the amount of things you can put in it, the amount of technology. You can, you get something called the multi-tool expansion slot in certain areas of the game. You can purchase a slot for a lot of units or upgrade the class of it for a lot of nanites. And when you're going from A to S, it's 50,000, just to give you an idea. So it is not cheap. You got another back room here with some dudes running around. There's usually, yep, there we go. Way to earn a few nanites. Another galactic terminal. And some various guys to talk with. Sometimes you can get a little carbon out of these plants. Not a lot over here, but definitely worth a look. You see these on tables, especially early game, you're going to want them. It's navigation data. You can get nanites out of it or actual navigation data, which is something you'll use with that cartographer that we looked at on the other side. This one probably has it. Yep, there's the navigation data. Then you got this mysterious fellow, the scrap dealer. He sells you things using tainted metal, but that's something that we won't even look at right now because we're nowhere near that. And here you can either sell your ship, or actually tear it down, scrap it, or you can upgrade it size-wise and all that. So it's kind of neat. We don't have the ability to do it because, as you can see, purchasing storage will cost 4 million units and upgrading the class is 10,000. Now you can get storage augmentations, which will upgrade it for free, but that's a process in a video in and of itself. And here's our appearance modifier, where you can change the way your character looks. And we're not going to bother with that right now. So that's pretty much it on this side. One other thing. We'll head back over here. And we have a teleporter, kind of like the one we built at the base, that will allow you to teleport to any of your bases. If ours was still down there, it would be right up here. We'd be able to teleport right down to it, as well as other space stations that we visited recently. So with that being said, we've held things up enough. We're about to take the next step of our journey here, so for now, we're going to call it a day. And I thank y'all for joining me. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault. And if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this little thing helped you out. We're a little over an hour into the game. We're at the space station, and things are about to open up a little bit. The next episode will be definitely a little more exciting than this and have a lot more meat to it. So don't forget to leave a comment down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'll see you next time.